absolute madness we're seeing over the last few hours. Welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel, to the XRP Familia. I'm sure at this point you guys know what's happening with the broader market. Again, we're looking at one of the biggest pullbacks in the crypto space. And as far as liquidation is concerned, for leverage, it's the biggest liquidation we have seen in the history of crypto. But we're going to talk about what's happening as I indicated in my Cardano update. If you did end up watching that, I haven't seen something like this since 2020 and the previous years before that, like 2017. And obviously I could even relate it to the FTX time, but not. It's, I think, even bigger than that in just a single day. Like if we're talking about like just a single day, it's absolute madness. Let's take a look at what's happening with XRP for you guys. We're going to get into some of the details, give you guys the update that you guys want. But yeah, looking across the board right now, a big bloodbath across the crypto space. Market is rebounding though over the last, 1.5 to 2 hours. You can see for yourself a lot of green. But again, we are down substantially from where we were just yesterday. Price of XRP, $2.40 right now. Down 15.2% in USD, down about 10% in Bitcoin. Comparative valuation, 142.1 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume, of course, through the roof right now, sitting at about 13.7 billion. As always, just a quick disclaimer: anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So, some key things to know. Why is the crash happening? I'm sure if you did watch my market analysis update, I just published for you guys about an hour back. If not, if you're just coming onto this video, we can take a look at Trump has announced an additional 100% tariff on China and export controls on all critical software starting November 1st. This is massive. We're talking about China at the end of the day. And this has caused the market to plummet. Stock market also having a very, very bad day. But again, largest liquidation, about 9.45 billion over the last 24 hours, about 8 billion in longs and about almost $2 billion in shorts that have been liquidated. And again, a continuous reminder why you don't want to be leverage trading. Yes, people tend to think, oh, my entry is low, this and that, yada, yada, yada. But you don't really understand, where these risk factors can come into play. Sometimes these major swings like this, which in my opinion, will be short-lived. In my honest opinion, this is still going to be short-lived. The market is kind of, getting out of that tariff conversation because, of course, we saw that. It's not that this is the first time, but again, I think we're not out of the woods now because these are things we cannot control. No one could have come to you yesterday and said, yeah, well, market is going to see one of the biggest pullbacks in a few years, and we need to see that because Donald Trump's going to come in. And if it was as easy as that, people would be millionaires or billionaires, to say the least. But that's not the case, right? So this is where that risk strategy comes into play. This is where, that due diligent portion comes into play. But again, I've been in the space for 10 years, seen this time and time out again, and I think market will recover from this. Now, let's take a look at what's happening right now. So again, if you want to put this into perspective, obviously traditional market is something you want to be paying attention to. The S&P 500 alone, listen to this, guys. The S&P 500 alone has erased $1.5 trillion in market cap today. When you make the comparison with when you make the comparison with the crypto markets, that's almost, not exactly, but almost half of that. Are you realizing what I'm saying here? It's almost half of that. And that really gives you a better understanding as to how small the crypto space really is. Moving forward, look at where Raoul Pal says, desperately trying to move money out of the bank into crypto, near impossible to in any reasonable time. Or anyways, it's still a gift. Pretty much talking about how this, dip right here is a big, sale in a way. Again, definitely it's one of the biggest sales because if you're looking at the wicks that we have seen, it's mind-boggling to say the least. It's literally sending shockwaves when I'm looking at these in my body. That's how crazy of a move that we have seen happen. And I think leverage has something to do with this as well, but I think we needed this flush. And again, in a bull market, this can still end up happening. You can see for yourself, we saw the dominance skyrocket up to 62.3%. Bitcoin, on the other hand, wicked down to $102,000 for the first time since June of this year. We didn't come exactly to 100K, but you can see for yourself how big of a deal this really is. We have climbed up since then. Let me show you guys the hourly time frame. Bitcoin has climbed up, and again, if you got in Bitcoin here, you're looking at an increase of about 12% for BTC. But even though we are back up and we're approaching our confirmation zone at 115,000, which I think we could get to, I still have this feeling if we hear any sort of update on this specific tariff, we could still see Bitcoin, fill this wick. We've seen time and time out, sometimes these types of wicks do fill in. Now that's the question that we never really had before. And could this really end up happening? Maybe it might not happen in a straight line now, but gradual, pull back down another 10% for Bitcoin before we start heading towards the upside. I think October could be choppy based off of this. Maybe we do hear some updates from China. Maybe we hear more updates from US regarding this. But I do think there's going to be a resolution coming once again. But as of now, we want to be paying attention to, did we already see the bottom? We'll see what happens. But look at the volume spike. We have not seen that type of volume in such a long time. And that tells you everything you need to know. So yeah, keeping this factor in mind, I still have this gut feeling we will fill this wick in. I just do, based off of what I've seen in the past. I would love to be wrong if Bitcoin is able to climb back above 122. Obviously, these two are my confirmations, but now since Bitcoin has reached a new all-time high, $122,000 is our new confirmation that we need to be looking out for. But as far as XRP is concerned, let this sink in, guys. Again, if Bitcoin is going to drop 16%, a lot of altcoins actually dropped 60%. 60. Yes, Bitcoin dropped about 16 to 70%. 17%. Some altcoins dropped 60%. XRP dropped 50% right now, retesting the 78.6 Fibonacci retracement level for the first time since November of last year, but very short-lived. We did not last there too long. You could see for yourself, 71% increase since then. Anyone that got in around here, guys, this would have been one of the craziest entries that you could have gotten. And I know some people might think, oh, that's not possible, but believe it or not, if people have some buy orders placed in around these significant support lines, I know now you guys are probably wondering, why do these support lines not hold? But when you see a drop like this, a wick like this for Bitcoin, believe it or not, things can go down instantly. And you can see how fast we dropped down to the 78.6 fib zone. $1.40 were retested. But I do believe if some people had buy orders placed in around the 61.8 or the 0.50, they got filled in. So people in the leverage side of things are not having a great time, but people that were having spot buy orders placed in around these key levels, some people actually saw a significant increase over the last few hours, and that is insane to think about. But what's even more insane to think about is this move right here. One of the things that we haven't seen in such a long time, but right now we still need to be very, very cautious right now, because Bitcoin, yes, is pushing towards the upside, but we need to understand from the market maker's perspective now, obviously people are going to start piling up longs again, but maybe that does not last too long. Maybe we do pull back down to the 23.6 and head back down to, this wick. We'll see what happens. Obviously, that's going to have an impact on XRP. These are things not in our control, but I think, once we kind of settle ourselves, this is going to rebound much quicker. And yes, I still think we're in a bull market. Again, that's my own personal opinion, but we'll see what happens. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. And obviously, the new rate cut that's coming, that's definitely not priced in at this point. At this point, it's definitely not priced in. But again, we'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys covered. Crazy day for the crypto space. Again, let me know in the comments what your personal thoughts are. A lot of people are actually happy at this based off of what I've been reading, but I'll keep you guys covered as always. Love you all. See you later from Crypto ZX, and peace out.